It was 1913 when a new enterprise set out to develop and commercialize important innovations in fuse technology in the early days of electrification. Fresh out of MIT, Joseph Deloge, the company founder, focused his attention on renewable fuses, products that could easily and safely be changed in accessible fuse clips. The emergence of replaceable fuses, so quickly taken for granted during the following years, was a major safety innovation over the hand-wound lead wire that would melt as a sacrificial weak link to protect early circuits from overload. His engineering efforts covered a wide range of power type, plug type, and glass automobile fuses. But it was his fascinating work with powder filling to quench or kill the arc within the fuse chamber that led to the company's name, Killark. Early growth that was built on these innovations was good, but the outbreak of World War I had a disruptive impact on the fledgling enterprise. Joseph Deloge, or JD as he came to be known, made the decision to place his young company in the hands of family and friends and rechannel his zeal toward the war effort. It was a very personal commitment that led him to serve in the Medical Transport Corps of the French Foreign Legion. The surrogates he chose for the years he spent overseas did not let him down and kept the company moving along. But in addition to its normal business, considerable plant capacity was reconfigured for the production of gas masks, much needed for the war effort. By 1919, Killark had outgrown its startup location and moved to the much larger Turner Hall at what remains the company's current manufacturing address. Killark and its product lines continued to grow and prosper. Its range of glass fuses became a countertop commodity across industry, and its well-known automobile fuses were adopted as original equipment by the millions for General Motors, Ford, and other car manufacturers. The rising influence of safety policies being pursued by Underwriters Laboratories had an ever-increasing effect on industrial wiring methods. The logic of using iron pipe to protect previously exposed conductors was being widely adopted, and Killark matched those advances with the introduction of its electrolet conduit fittings and dedicated purpose service entrance heads in the early 1920s. Not long after, Killark developed its line of bluebell and whitebell transformers that became so popular in residential use as electric doorbells found their way into so many homes. Even though the transformers have long been discontinued, home restoration specialists still come across the classic white and bluebells. The company was growing well, but it would be faced with another serious disruption, one that brought not only short-term fears, but also a long-term threat to the organization. In 1925, a devastating fire overtook the old Turner Hall that had been home to Killark for the past 6 years. Early fire wagons were not sufficient to stem the blaze, and the entire building was lost. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the risk was high as some of the disabled workers who were part of the Killark team were led to safety. The prospects for the company were now in great jeopardy, and critical decisions about its future were urgent. But JD refused to back off his commitment. He set an immediate course to take up temporary quarters for the operation and started plans for a new building on the same site where Turner Hall had been reduced to ashes. The new single-level building was designed and constructed on an accelerated schedule and represented a major step in the plans for the future growth of the company. The new structure incorporated modern operations theory and even included a robust structural system in anticipation of expansion that would bring additional levels to the building in coming years. Killark adapted to its new manufacturing home quickly, and production flourished. But in September 1927, events would again impact smooth operations. A fierce tornado ripped through the neighborhood, and while damage to Killark's facility was only moderate, the homes of nearby families and employees did not fare as well. The next several years were healthy ones, but the company was not immune to the economic storm of the Great Depression that gripped the nation. But what was unusual at Killark was that J.D. refused to release loyal employees to the street as business contracted. Using personal resources, he managed to spread limited work to maintain the Killark team during this dark period. Through its first 2 decades, Killark relied on its technology and direct dealings to sustain sales and growth. But in 1934, the decision was made to adopt modern marketing techniques by adding agents, distributors, and a widely circulated catalog. It then took only 2 years more before it became necessary to add a second and third floor to the factory. By 1940, as the greatest generation took up arms in the Second World War, demands on industry to supply the effort became enormous. Killark again converted part of its facilities. This time, it was to the manufacture of parachute couplings and components for artillery shells. The direct needs of the military consumed much of the nation's brass and iron foundry capacity and the raw materials to feed them. This made it difficult for the producers of brass and iron products, including Killark, to meet civilian demand. However, the company had already been exploring the novel idea of applying some of the inherent benefits of aluminum to its electrolyte conduit fittings. Killark saw this as a possible solution and chose to align its research with the unsatisfied demand caused by iron shortages. This was the introduction of the very first experimental line of aluminum conduit fittings. The success of this pioneering concept exceeded expectations, and the company's line of aluminum electrolytes, or Alumilets, was born. The range of products in aluminum continued to grow until the decision was made to convert, for many years to come, all production to aluminum, including the development of future products. It was soon clear that the Killark innovation created an important trend that found essentially all major conduit fitting brands following with the addition of their own similar lines. In fact, the preference for aluminum became so strong in countless applications that today many of the key product lines that grew from this revolution are available in no other material. The innovative style of its founder continued to guide Killark in an expanding range of new areas. The development of products for illuminating gasoline dispensing facilities, or gas stations as they came to be called, turned out to be a vital milestone for the company. This advance led to providing very specialized equipment for use where ordinary electrical devices could become a source of ignition for fire and explosion in the presence of escaping flammable gases and vapors. Following the war, Killark was again able to redirect all efforts toward its industrial, construction, and OEM business. It was a time that also found Killark broadening its manufacturing base and exploring new markets. The company purchased foundry capacity that had been released from the production of cylinder heads for Sherman tanks as peacetime took hold. Killark also entered the market for traffic signals. But it was the continuing progress in the business for its electrical construction products, particularly demand for the company's explosion-proof products for the petroleum industry, that led to its concentrated commitment to that effort. In 1952, the company divested itself of traffic signals and sold its fuse business to the automotive division of a well-known fuse manufacturer. All capacity was then recommitted to electrical construction products. The next 48 months saw a remarkable increase in capacity and capability. All production at the foundry was absorbed, so a new, efficient casting division was created in Louisiana, Missouri. An additional warehouse was erected at the main facility in St. Louis to store the raw castings and machined products. To add to the capability of the casting division, Atlas Manufacturing in Sparta, Illinois was acquired, and even a compression molding company was added to supply the needs of growing lines of hazardous location plugs and receptacles and motor control. The 60s experienced exceptional demand for Killark's copper-free, corrosion-resistant products. This led to further progression in St. Louis. And in 1966, in what turned out to be a bold, news-making step for the industry, Grace Horst was named president of Killark, becoming one of the first women to achieve this level of leadership. Killark continued to experience growth-driven expansion of its facilities in St. Louis, as well as the addition of operations in Canada. International markets also began to represent an important share of business. Novel designs that were focused on making assemblies more adaptable and easier to customize right at the installation site became a part of the Killark philosophy. For instance, multi-gang explosion-proof control stations that could be configured for each application on the spot was a major step in providing remarkable field flexibility. By now, Killark's groundbreaking developments in products employing copper-free aluminum alloys had caught on in a big way. Key offerings in enclosures, motor controls, plugs and receptacles, distribution equipment, lighting and fittings, all for hazardous locations, had become major extensions of the original lightweight and corrosion-resistant concepts introduced for entrance heads and conduit fittings. Even instrumentation manufacturers with specialized needs for enclosures to accommodate their equipment came to Killark for the design and fabrication of dedicated housings in aluminum. Both specification and installation experience over many years had shown the adoption of aluminum for countless product lines to be a remarkable success for the industry. However, a very early but enduring article in the National Electrical Code, intended to restrict the combination of brass and iron in raceway systems, was worded too broadly and needed to be changed. In the early 1970s, Killark initiated a research project with Battelle Columbus Laboratories to provide independent scientific evidence that explained and reinforced the industry's exceptional experience. The success of that study led to essential changes in the NEC that recognized the advancement that aluminum fittings had brought to conduit systems. With the code change now clarifying the article and eliminating the misinterpretation that had been lingering, Killark was able to re-communicate the benefits of aluminum to those who had been reluctant to try it. The company's record, especially over this last decade, attracted many corporate suitors, but it wasn't until 1985 that the ideal match was achieved. In May of that year, Killark became part of the Hubbell family of companies. This was the beginning of a new and invigorating era for Killark. Even while retaining its original brand and character, the total support from Killark's new parent created an environment for accelerated growth and product development. Technology investment elevated operations, and greater marketing presence helped the company gain even broader success for its achievements in products and service. For example, Killark's remarkable ability to customize products and provide design assistance to meet application needs of its OEMs, industrial, and construction users became an embedded part of its core mission. The adaptability of its enclosures and controls for hazardous locations is recognized as second to none. Innovative use of factory sealing enabled advances in remote control stations that simplified installation and maintenance. Unique engineering approaches led to intermatability benefits in blade-type plugs and receptacles, previously thought to be impossible. Advances in lighting equipment piloted emerging technologies in hazardous locations. Enclosure development continued to introduce installation-friendly advances. All the while, resources directed toward sustaining the highest levels of service and response time remained strong. This included the development of programs dedicated to the struggles and uncertainties of urgent project schedules faced by many customers. The introduction of Versamate plugs and receptacles that were developed and engineered specifically to address the demands of the oil and gas industry further cemented Killark's long-term relationship with the nation's essential need for energy. Soon after the acquisition by Hubbell, Killark began to evaluate current trends in the electrical market and again engaged with the writers of the National Electrical Code to introduce some of the newest and most advanced technology as additional options for treating hazardous locations. The new articles resulting from these efforts now made the American version of the Zone system, a practical alternative for those installations that would benefit from emerging worldwide standardization. By integrating certifications in accordance with these global standards, Killark's position as the brand of choice for original equipment manufacturers continued. The unfailing long-term growth in the worldwide demand for energy has linked oil producer, processor, and consumer nations in a constant quest for the best technology, experience, and service. The need for specialized electrical equipment in these hazardous locations has led to an ever-increasing global role for Killark. Its product lines, third-party certifications, engineering and production capabilities, along with its recognized service structure, have provided a natural fit for the linking of world markets. The expanding call for harmonized technologies is more than a passing trend. Global transition toward IEC standards has not only become an important part of Killark's current responsibility to the industry, but also a key element in its robust plans for the future. In fact, some of the most advanced manufacturing and testing technologies have been merged by Killark to provide high-tolerance enclosures and controls that can meet both American and international harmonized standards. In recent years, the core of Killark's activity has been described as the dual mission of protecting the electrical system from the environment and protecting the environment from the electrical system. This simple but important statement of purpose has firmly positioned Killark as the foundation of a growing branch of Hubbell's business, known as Harsh and Hazardous. The inclusion of Chalmette, Victor Lighting, Guytronics, Hawk, and most recently the Killark acquisition of Vantage Technology has highlighted this critical segment. The remarkable motivators that make up the fabric of Killark's past are still weaving its future. There are moments when a century seems to be an unimaginable span of time. Yet there are retired employees and even a small group of current employees who came to Killark when the hand of its founder was still a guiding force. The organization that grew from those early advancements in fuses never lost its passion for excellence and innovation, and continuing its commitment to growth and service for the next century.